morning once again and welcome back. It's still the Morning Splash. It's a beautiful Tuesday morning and I hope you're enjoying your day. You're enjoying the start to your day wherever it is you're listening to us from. Today is the 16th. Today's the 16th day in February 2021. And of course, we salute everybody out there listening to us. Today's, such a beautiful day. We've got great weather out there today. And of course, we're going beyond the surface. I'm Ronke Giwa Onafuwa. I hope you're well. And we hope you've been following the events and the news, especially with the security issues that have been going on here in Oyo State. It's been a cause for concern. And, when they say on easy lies the head that wears the crown, is this at times when, it's nice to, campaign and get elected, it's nice to say you're a governor, it's nice to say you're a leader, it's nice to say you're this and you're that, but during a crisis is when you know, that it's not just being a leader, it's not just a nice thing, it's not just about feeling important, sounding important. It's a lot of work to be a leader. So in this kind of crisis, I always look at the governors and the people in positions of power and how they react to crises like this, because this is what will determine what happens when there's a crisis. How we react as a people and how the leaders react is what will determine how things will unfold. In fact, a lot of people have said things have gotten to this level because of how our leaders have sort of reacted. For example, a lot of people have said the federal government, for example, the president particularly, has sort of shown so much partiality to a certain tribe, which has caused sort of counter issues like this one, whereby people feel they can't get justice because someone, how even in a family, we have that one person who's mommy's favorite or daddy's favorite, and so the other siblings feel a little jealous, and once they feel like, hey, mommy will always side with this person, they always take matters into their own hands when mommy is away. And I feel like these are the kind of things that are happening. We found cases of certain people involved in banditry, killings, kidnappings, etc. Not necessarily just a certain tribe, which also I feel, labeling and stereotyping is one of the things that cause crisis in any situation. No matter where in the world you go to, there are people who are living together. Different people. If you go to America, if you go to the UK, if you go anywhere in this world, you'll find that there are people, different kinds of people living together. Whether or not they can live in peace without any kind of crisis, that's a question I'm going to ask my guest today. My guest today is a professor of industrial and peace education. He obtained a B.Ed chemistry from the University of Benin, an MSc environmental analytical chemistry, and PhD industrial education from the University of Ibadan. Professor Akonji is his name. He won the Kwara State Government of Nigeria undergraduate scholarship 1976, 1979, and the Conrad Adenier Fellowship for the research into insecurity in Nigeria, the Boko Haram dimension, 2012 to 2013. He has also won the University of Ibadan Senate Research Grant, developing appropriate advocacy tool for community members in disaster response, a project executed in Lisa Village following the Bellevue air crash. I could tell you so much more about him, but I'm excited to bring him on because he's going to be talking to us. We're not just going to talk about the whole Shasha situation, because the fact that we cannot even get one straightforward reason as to what we have heard so many accounts, it's ridiculous, So, but how do we avoid these kind of things? That I think is his specialty. Can we avoid conflict altogether? Good morning, Professor Akonji. Hello, good morning, sir. Okay, 1 second. Let me try and bring. Okay, I think he may have. Okay, we'll try and get him back on, and as soon as we have him back on, I will bring him on. All right, so, he's going to be talking to me about if people, how do we go on from here and ensure that we do not have, people's lives are lost. Whenever there's a crisis, we'll have situations where people are wounded, people are injured. Hello, good morning, sir.
Yeah, good morning.
Good to have you here, Professor Akonji. Thank you very much for joining us on Beyond the Surface, sir.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
All right, so before you joined us, I was talking about how, anywhere in the world you go to, there are people who are from different places who are living together. I was just actually watching the news and about how in African Americans have been assaulting Asian Americans because obviously they feel that the Asians are the ones that are bringing in, the virus, coronavirus, etc. And this is an issue that they are facing in America. We also have the black and white issues, all over the world as well. And then here having the, people from the north and the south staying together and having issues of it. Is it possible for people to stay together who are different, who are so different, to stay together without there being any kind of conflict or crisis, sir?
Well, as you know, in some parlance, it is believed that conflict is a way of life. Like you also identified, issues of conflict occur almost every time, every day, everywhere. The difference between one community and the other is that a community that has strong institutions, strong structures, to be able to handle their problems when they occur are the communities that we refer to as successful communities.
Right.
So there is no community where you don't have conflict because it is not possible for aspirations and needs to be the same. But you only need to have a structure in place to be able to arrange things so that each person knows his role and when to do something. And once they are aware that these institutions are there to be able to address issues as they occur, people will definitely conform and behave properly.
Right.
Situations where you see people taking laws into their hands is when they are aware that there are no formal structures to be able to assist them. When they have this kind of a belief, then everyone tries to help himself. And that is the kind of situation that you have around us here.
Right. So in this particular situation... Right. Absolutely, because even people from the same home, we have siblings who also have issues amongst themselves, and those are people that are born from the same mother and father. So if they can have issues, why not people from, different places? But are there any procedures, for example, for someone like you who also deals in conflict and reconciliation? For example, if somebody fell down and fainted here, there are, first aid procedures that one would know to do before it gets out of hand. This situation sort of got out of hand, but is there something that could have been done? Are there procedures during a crisis or conflict like this that could stop it from being blown out of proportion?
Yes, definitely conflict has stages. That is the formative stage of conflict. When you see communication breaking down, when you see people having different information in different ways, human beings naturally will seek information on things around us. But when this information is not available or it is available in a partial form, we try to make up for the rest, and as a result of that, people respond to what is around them. So this could have been avoided if we have government in place, making sure that people understand the situation and the responsibility of each other. If we do not have a situation whereby we are promoting a structure that has refused to integrate people, that has refused to make people understand that, look, what is important for us is to be able to live together and understand our differences and make a positive use of it. The situation whereby we try to alienate people along religion, along ethnicity, along trade, along names, all these things are happening. Even if you come to Ibadan City here, even though you have seen several tribes living here for many years, you still can locate that if you go to a certain place, this is the kind of a tribal group that you find there. If you're even talking about trade, you already delineate that, okay, if you're talking about this trade, these are the tribal people that are there. Even churches, you have Hausa church, you have Igbo church, you have Yoruba church. So our refusal to do integration because of our policies, if at this stage we still free form and we still put states of origin, religion, state of origin, these are issues that are dividing us. So government could have prevented this if they had adopted a kind of system that has made people to understand themselves first as nationals of the citizens of the same nation who have the same common goal to be able to defend, rather than some parochial, narrow ethnic this thing that they have already been promoting among us. So definitely, even when government wants to make announcements, you see people sitting by their radios. Not that they want to hear the names of best people being announced. But if person is interested, who is from my clan, that will be announced as somebody holding position, so that we can go to him and then we will become of benefit to us. So all these are backlashes of the kind of policies that we run, which is actually making it difficult for citizens to integrate, which is also making it difficult for people to have access to correct information. And once people don't have access to correct information, they are going to make use of what is around them, and that will be escalating conflict. So if you get formative stage not well handled, then you go to the escalation stage. That is when this thing continues to go up. And we now get to the crisis stage that we are now. It is always very difficult for you to try to address conflict at the crisis stage, because then tempers are very high. And that is the situation that we have now. Different information, different scenarios, different things are in the air now, and everybody is just on its own. That's the situation we have.
All right. So one of the issues I also wanted to talk to you about, sir, is the issue of stereotyping. You mentioned that whilst you were talking, and it's hard because we're always telling people, for example, if you're going to say Fulani herdsman, some people say Fulani killer, some people say all sorts, So, and we often ask people not to stereotype. That's another reason for crisis, because when you stereotype a whole tribe of people, you forget that there's somebody out there who's living their life peacefully and not doing anything. Then people gang up on that person, and all sorts of things happen. But how do you ask people not to stereotype? For example, people can have anxieties. If, for example, I've been attacked by a man once in a dark place, every time I say a man, I'm going to feel a little fidgety. So how do we ask people not to stereotype, but there's anxieties because maybe a small portion of a particular group of people have done certain things, certain places to cause them to start to stereotype people? How do we move past that stereotype?
Yeah, it's a failure of our security structure. If our security structure had been up and doing, and people know that security is supposed to be, and all of the people are there. By the time you try to associate a particular tribe to a particular group, you are already making the criminals, some of those criminals, hardened criminals, to understand the way you think. And unfortunately, some of those very hard criminals will escape justice.
Yes.
They will escape justice because they know that you are not going to focus on them. And that's the reason why it is even possible for people to dress in that way. What stops an Igbo man to dress like a Fulani man goes on the road to be able to do it because he knows that you have already done that.
Absolutely.
But if, for example, because there is no security agency that is a magic home, everyone works on intelligence. If, for example, we have adequate intelligence working with the community people, and we're able to identify the sources of all these crises, and they know that they will be caught when they commit it, definitely these things will go down. There are no places where you don't have threats of insecurity. It is just because once people know that the
they can get away with it,
they are not going to do it. But now we have allowed the citizens to color these things in the way in which is open to them. And I don't blame them, because if you have already experienced before that your relation was kidnapped by a Fulani man, it is going to be difficult for you to tell him that it's not all Fulani staff. So definitely this is a failure of governance. And the most important issue of any government is security. So if a government is unable to provide security for citizens, it means that government has failed woefully. Because that is the most important duty that a government owes to citizens. So as I see now, I can see that whatever you see people reacting to about this particular moment, they are reacting to the kind of messages that their brain are continuing to receive from the environment. It is what the environment is feeding the brain that's actually directing the behavior of the citizens. So you cannot blame citizens for taking this type of a thing. And by the time you do not handle this one at this stage, it continues to fester, continues to enlarge, because the only thing that you see, most conflicts start with small intangible things. And by the time they come together, they come to a certain level which becomes too violent for even the government to handle. And many people have believed that you cannot solve a problem with the same amount of energy that caused it. we need a higher energy to be able to solve it. And that's the situation we have at our hand.
Absolutely. And you've mentioned one of the things that fuels this kind of crisis or hatred amongst ourselves, which is the fact that if I don't get justice, because we always have this live and let live. Oh, someone's done something wrong to me. So we have this, okay, live and let live. Let's forget it. And I see that person roaming free. I mean, it's that anger continues to stay there. So until we get to the point where someone does something and they face the law and obviously the victim gets justice for it, we're going to continue to have this kind of crisis, is it not?
Yeah, definitely. Even if you have two warring parties and you want to resolve conflict among them, there are certain ingredients that are so important for you to be able to do it. One of it is that truth must be told. That is, actual things, facts of what has happened must be available for people to know. And after truth has been told, the next thing is justice. Justice must be done or must be seen to have been done. It is when you have done all this that you now talk about mercy and then you talk about forgiveness. If you do not have all these stages in anything, definitely you cannot say that you have resolved money, because when somebody is a victim of something, it registers something in his brain, and that lasts for long. And when he sees that, it becomes an experience on which the next experience will be based. So if you have children at home, and you tell the eldest one that, look, if any one of your younger ones offend you, don't do anything to them. When I come, I'm going to handle the situation. And when you come back tomorrow, and the senior reports to you that, look, this is what my younger sister has done, you say, no, you two, you are the one causing all this problem. By the time you go out the next time, when you come back, you are going to see war at home. So definitely, that is the way in which humans naturally react and behave. So what we are seeing is just a failure of governance.
Once again,
what is our security structure? What kind of structure do we have? And unfortunately, because of the growth of ICT, because of globalization, because of the changing nature of work, the nature of conflicts has become multi-twined, multifaceted, and has become so diverse that there is no particular agency that can single-handedly handle the situation we have on ground now. So we need agencies to be able to work together. We then have an unfortunate situation where these agencies are competing and not in cooperation with one another. So you can see that even the people that are supposed to save you do not even have a kind of a cooperative behavior. So you have criminals understanding all these things, and that's the reason why our society is becoming unsafe.
Absolutely.
For people to be able to live in.
Right.
And it has implications for so many others.
And talking about justice, someone made a case about how our courts are so far and so slow and said, how about we come up with dispute settling arbitration outfits in some of these communities where they don't have to wait to go to the court to get justice. They can sort of settle it. Would you think that's a good idea?
Yeah, surely. It's not everything. Because if you look at the number of courts that we have, and the kind of problem that we have coming up every day, even wanting to take matter to court means that you are expecting an outcome of one person is right, the other person is wrong.
Yes.
Definitely, when you resolve conflicts based on that, you stand to get the conflict coming back another time. But when you resolve the conflict based on addressing interest of all the persons, not interested in one person is right, the other person is wrong, because there are many things that determine it. You see that this peace that you get from there becomes longer lasting than the one that you get from adjudication, which we call an adversarial way of trying to resolve or manage conflict. So definitely, if we have our communities, if we have a working community where communication is well improved, where people understand themselves and understand the interests of everybody, it's going to be better than for you to wait for cases to go to court. Because when you go to court, it depends on the kind of lawyer that you have.
True.
There are times when you know that you are right, but because you don't have somebody to argue your case, they say you are wrong. You'll be looking for an opportunity to prove that you are right.
True.
So many times, Yorubas have a proverb that we don't go to court, come back and become friends. So that means it is believed that courts can never get a solution to conflict.
Our problem.
What they will do is to do it according to what is happening, and people just accept. But it is better for us to find means of avoiding having to go to court, but to be able to do things that will remove all these the troubles, the underlying causes of conflict in the society. And that is when people struggle for scarce resources, when people struggle for information, and all these things are what we should actually work.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, sir. But before you go, I mean, you've talked a lot about the failure of government and what government definitely can't do in order to avoid, crises like this in the future. But what are the things that you would say for people out there who are listening? What are the things that we can do in order to avoid such situations in the future?
Well, first and foremost, it is important to let people know that we only know the beginning of conflict. The outcome of it can be very destructive to everybody.
Yes.
So it's important for us to do that, to understand that, to let the society know that we are better off not engaging in this conflict than engaging in it. The government should realize that why do people engage in conflict? It's just because of maybe resources are inadequate, information is not clear, and all this. The government should try not to be waiting till when the crisis comes and then they draft police and draft all these things to the thing. But to have a structure in place which is going to build the confidence of the people in them so that they will know that this government is there for them. If everyone is engaged, if they get jobs, you cannot talk about resolving conflict when you have millions of people on the streets without jobs. Anytime there is a small crisis like this, you already have a ready army to fight. So government should try as much as possible to try to reduce the number of people on the streets by providing livelihood for them.
Sure.
And citizens should also know that it is not only government that will provide the security. That security is an all of the people affair. And it is better for us because it will promote development if we are in peace than when we are in war. Because if there is war and nobody is able to go out, then it becomes everyone that is on his own. If we have seen the history of war in this country, people will not be shouting for war. We fought a civil war in this country. But unfortunately, somebody sat somewhere and said that they should stop teaching history in schools. If we were teaching history in schools and people had seen the devastation that we suffered from past wars, from past crises, it will be very difficult for them to come. So we have educational approach, we have community approach, and all this. We also have the official government approach for us to be able to prevent this, because prevention, like you say, is better than
Sir, thank you so much for your time. We appreciate you being here on the program with us today. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.
All right, sir. Thank you. Bye-bye, sir. All right, that was Professor Tajuddin Ademola Akonji, Professor of Industrial and Peace Education at the University of Ibadan. We're going to take a short commercial break. Hopefully, when we come back, we have a few recordings from people who have also shared their thoughts on the goings on in the city. And we were also going to ask the question, if we all decide to stay in our territories, like some people say, everybody go back to your territory, what are the likely issues that would arise? Because there are some issues that would arise from that as well. You know, if everybody decides to go to the north, from the north go to the north, from the east go to the east, south go to the south, what are the likely issues that will arise? We'll take that when we come back. Don't go away.
It's a happy feeling when receiving all of the love coming from family.
So many recipes, creating memories, every day and every night, bonding families.
60 years of joy, giving love, so much value, quality. Golden penny is you, golden penny is me, golden penny is at the heart of the family. Golden penny is you, golden penny is me, golden penny is at the heart of the family. Oh yo yo yo, golden penny 60.
Golden Penny Foods is celebrating 60 years at the heart of the family.
Heart of the family.
Hey, Oga and Madam, you don't see the room now. Make I show you the toilet where you could share with the other neighbors.
Now the toilet be this.
What's the apple?
Oga agent, you mean say na general toilets clean, come white like this,
Yes, now. Na hypo toilet cleaner than they use to clean and kill the yama germs come out.
Hypo toilet cleaner? Wow.
Wash your toilet at least once a week with Hypo Toilet Cleaner to keep it sparkling clean and gem-free. Available in sachet for 35 naira only. Madam, now 2 years land on one collect.
We go pay for 6 years.
For area, then they call me Baba 22. If you look my JC, number 22. My keke plate number encore 22. My house number, of course. I decack for number 22. But you sabi wetin really make them they call me Baba 22? Now because I dey groove 22 times bonus on top every recharge.
Yes, so if you don't tell when you use your glow line, reactivate now, make you begin enjoy your own Ogbonge 22 times bonus on top every recharge. It dey pay to reactivate your glow line.
Glow Unlimited.
Hello, Mrs. Martins.
Yes. Oh, Mrs. Johnson, how may I help you?
Junior's body temperature is high and he's complaining about headaches and body aches.
Not to worry. Get Bruston and suspension.
Okay, ma. I'll call you back.
Bruston and Suspension for Children is a sweet-tasting brand of ibuprofen which provides relief against toothache, pains, and fever in children after 30 minutes.
Hello, ma. Oh, Junior, stop that.
Is everything okay, Mrs. Johnson?
Yes, ma. Junior is fine now. In fact, Junior, sorry, ma. I'll call you back.
Brustin and Suspension for Children. Always take the product after meal. If symptoms persist after 2 days, consult your doctor. A quality product from Rambaxay.
It is time for celebration. Oh. 30 years bustling with goodness. The challenge can never stop us. You can't underrate us. You can't underrate.
Hey, my people, the International Organization for Migration will be IOM. They call everybody where enter Nigeria through Lagos Airport from Mali. From January 2018, go reach now. And IOM never still contact you or assist you. I beg, make you call 0902 170 6377, 0907 007 1483, 0907 007 1478, 0907 007 1275, and 0701 561 3716. Hey, make you not sleep on top this one, no.
Charles!
Yes, mommy?
Go and bring 2 sachets of hyper bleach for me.
Why 2?
Because I'm using one to soak the whites and using one to kill all the germs.
But I can't see any germs here.
They are so tiny you can't see them. But they are there. And that is why I trust only hyper bleach to kill them all.
Make your white fabrics whiter and your household free of illness causing germs and viruses with the disinfecting power of hyper bleach.
Ó yẹ kó kọ́kọ́ kan ní kẹ́.
Ta ló sọ yẹn? Bẹ́ẹ̀ni ṣe ń ṣe pásítà tèmi nìyẹn o. Àti pé golden penny ni pásítà tí kì í lẹ̀pọ̀ kò sí ìyọnu.
Àwọn èmi fèsì pẹ̀lú ṣàjẹ́ àti oríṣiríṣi. Àtàkà tí kò kún náà ti rú woro.
Gbádùn golden penny pasta. Bó o ṣe fẹ́, a ṣe golden penny pasta pẹ̀lú èpo àlìkámà, durum wheat, tó ní protein tí kì í sì lẹ̀pọ̀. O ní àǹfààní láti sè é, bù tàbí jẹ bó o ṣe fẹ́ nítorí pé kò ní lẹ̀pọ̀. Pẹ̀lú golden penny pasta, bó o ṣe fẹ́ ló dáa jù.
Welcome back to Beyond the Surface. So we're looking at beyond the surface of, conflict resolution. We've had quite a bit here in the Southwest. And of course, obviously the whole Shasha story has been there's been lots of stories out there. We don't even know exactly who to believe as to what exactly started the crisis. The news we've heard obviously is that, yes, the market there has been closed, and thankfully peace has been restored to that place in a bit, but it must be a discussion where we must continue to have. in order not to have this kind of thing repeat itself. A lot of people have talked about their stance on, what's happened. Some people have given, their thoughts on how they feel. Obviously, this should not. This kind of thing should not be happening. They've talked about how the headers obviously taking advantage of people, destroying people's farm and stuff like that. Nobody would obviously like that kind of situation where you plan to put all of your money and savings into something and then someone's cow decides to just, take advantage of that. The gentleman, from the United States of America gave his thoughts on all that's happening.
My name is Demola Adeoti, and I would like to give my opinion on the I've been living in the USA now for over 20 years, and I still remember my brother's experience while doing crop farming in the Okeogun area. Probably.
Okay, let's.
The question is.
Okay, let's try and figure out this as a recording he actually sent up. Let me get this. Okay, all right.
My name is Demola Adeoti, and I would like to give my opinion on the herdsmen and the crop farmers crisis that's going on. Even though I've been living in the USA now for over 20 years, and I still remember my brother's experience while doing crop farming in the Okeogun area, probably around that 25 years ago. And my brother acquired a large area of land then, and he invested a lot. He bought tractors and planted acres and acres of maize. And I remember the constant battles that he and his staff had to fight back then with the herdsmen.
Okay.
With the herdsmen, because it was more like an endless battle. Because as he ward some off, a new set will come. And, he at a point, he involved the police. And what happens is that the police will arrest them in the morning, then release them later in the day. It was an endless thing. And at the end of the day, he had to abandon the project and lay off all the workers back then. And most of those workers were the local workers that were there. That was their source of income then. And on the other hand, what the herdsmen, what they have, because we are a meat-eating society, and we need the cows too, that they are bringing, that are unfortunately causing all this destruction. So finding a balance, because it's one of the things that I really want to say, because I've lived in the USA now for, like I said, for quite some time, and I must tell you, I've never seen a situation that I'll be driving on the road or maybe on the highway that I will see a herd of cattle that are being driven on the road, stopping traffic, or someone saying that herdsmen came to my farm and destroyed my crops. And one thing that I will ask myself is that how come? How did they do it? The answer to is the provision of ranches, and and one thing is something that the Nigerian government can do. If the government provides this land, it is not just the provision of the land. It has to have the amenities that the cattle and the herdsmen will need, so that the need for them to leave that area that's designated for them in search of water or vegetation will not even arise. And I must tell you, this is doable, because the government has the resource to do it. From providing the irrigation to propagate this vegetation that the cows need to eat, and also the water. The most important component of providing these ranches is the land. And believe me, I've traveled from all over Nigeria, and I know that this land is there because before I came to the US, I was a sales rep and I was posted to the north, middle belt. So I know sometimes I drive for miles, for hours, and all I see is just land that can be used. And one of the things that Nigeria is blessed with that we don't is not really appreciated for is the expertise to do this thing. Believe it or not, the driving workforce of countries like the USA are the immigrant community. And Nigerians, they lead in this category. They provide not just the manpower, or even the brains to have these things done. So until this is done, and those herdsmen are in a place where anything that their stock will ever need is provided for them, there will be no need for them to be invading people's farms and this is something that needs to be quickly viewed and addressed before more lives or more blood is shed on this issue without solution being proffered. Thank you so much for your time.
All right, thank you very much to him for his contribution there. And so we're going to open phone lines real quickly. If you're out there, I mean, what are your thoughts on how we obviously can do more in order to, live at peace with each other in spite of our differences? He's talked about how this whole issue with herdsmen, destroying people's property, nobody would like that. So it will obviously cause a crisis, especially when the right people are not stepping in order to give people justice. If somebody has come to my land and destroyed it, I must get some form of justice, or else if I feel like, you're asking me to live and let live, there's obviously going to be some sort of stereotyping, stigmatization, and then issues will arise from there. But we all know that we cannot all stay in our own parts of the country. We all need each other. So we all need each other for one thing or the other. There are certain things that we have up here that they may not have in the north. There are quite a few things that they have in the north that they have to bring down here in order for us to survive. So this whole everybody should go to their side of town may not work. Another gentleman delved into this conversation and sent us Vox Pop as well. Here's what he has to say.
The question is, how do we avoid communal clashes and ensure that we stay together peacefully in spite of our differences? Number one, for a community like ours, where we have diverse ethnic groups and different races, I believe the fundamental thing is we share a common value, which I believe is missing in Nigeria of today. However, all that can be achieved if people are not selfish. If people are selfless, number one is love. When you love people genuinely, you will treat them with respect. That's on the religious part aspects. However, if you look at it from our everyday life, there are rules and regulations guiding every society. What I believe is going to work is when people can respect law and order, where there is no room for nepotism, there is no room for preferential treatment, favoritism, and a couple of other things that bring about division amongst people. A recent one is what happened in Ibadan, although I don't have the detailed information about what happened in Ibadan, but I believe there has been incidences by Fulani headsmen that majority of the Southwest and Southeast have been complaining about, but unfortunately the president has made no comment on it, which bring about people trying to defend themselves. Had it been the law and order has been respected from day one without any preferential treatment, I believe we won't be finding ourselves in such situation.
Okay. Well, I mean, for me also, I believe that the president has made comments, but I guess not satisfactory enough, I would say, to people. And once people feel like even when you do make comments, your stance feels a bit like, let people be, let people go. All right, let's take this call real quickly. And then I think our time may be up. All right. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning.
Good
Hi, good morning. You're live on Beyond the Surface. What's your name, please?
All right, good morning, my name.
Oh, okay. All right, please try call back. Try call back real quickly. I would love to take your contribution. If it is just one or two, I would love to hear what your thoughts are on how to avoid this kind of crisis going forward. Also, stop spreading fake news. I think one of the videos that I saw was a lady who was talking about how somebody said something. And, well, anyway, let's take this. Hello, good morning.
Hello, Ronke.
Good morning.
I'm Koil Adele.
Good to have you here, Reverend Koye. Good to have you back. Go ahead.
You see, asking for solution. Solution is not far away. It begins with peace. Ohun tá a bá fẹ́ kó bàjẹ́, ó ní bá a ṣe ń ṣe. Yorùbá, Hausa, Igbo, we are one. It is one Nigeria, whether anybody likes it or not. Let us stop politics of mudsliding. Let us stop hatred. Having said that, Hausawa or herdsmen cannot deliberately be spoiling people's property because they are in power. There must be prosecution of criminals. Criminals must be seen to be deeply prosecuted and punished, and people will be happy. But above all, as we live together, we must maintain our diversity. And the best way to maintain our diversity is to encourage unity. Unity is not uniformity. Unity is best respecting our diversity and coming together as one with love, with cordiality, with respect. That was what we grew up with. That was the Nigeria we knew. We want a better Nigeria. The present government of the day and the federal government, they have a lot to do in this regard.
Absolutely.
It is not sufficient to say we will deal decisively with those who are flaming the end of ethnicity and religion. What are you doing that there will be no opportunity for that? We must promote peace. If we don't promote peace, people will fan embers of ethnicity and religion. Most especially, these are our terrible politicians. They will do it. So the way out, we need to really be sincere with ourselves. Sincerity of purpose is what we need. We have not been sincere. The federal government is not sincere. The state government is not sincere. The local government is not sincere. We, the people, we are not sincere with ourselves. So let us face the reality. Let us build a Nigeria we can all be proud of on love. L-O-V-E. Loving one another. Good morning.
Thank you very much, Reverend Koye. That's definitely a great charge to everyone. And obviously, when we have love, we will not stereotype. Just because one person from a particular group has done something bad to you doesn't mean we start to spread that everybody from this. We've talked about stereotyping before, just as a topic, because it's a huge thing. Even with this crisis alone, people were spreading all sort of false information that is so hard to decide what exactly really happened, because people were just spreading all sorts of false information, and false information will only just definitely put more fire to what is already burning. All right, so we must be mindful. We must spread love and not hate. Unfortunately, my time is up. I see that a few more people are trying to call in, but thank you very much for participating, for listening, and for being a part of the program. We hope that from here on, you do not just listen to what we've talked about. One of the things that Professor Akonji said was, if you've heard about war, perhaps we need to start teaching our children about our history. When we really know about war, we do not cry for war, we do not ask for war, and we will do all that we can for peace, because war is definitely not the answer. All right, thank you very much for being a part of Beyond the Surface. I'm Ronke Giwa Onafuwa. At 9 o'clock, we've got Tifun Tedo for you, so stay tuned, relax, we've got more. Don't go away.